There are more than 450,000 new malware programs found each day, and those are just the ones we know about. You may think computer viruses aren't something you need to worry about because you're careful when going online. Many people who end up with costly malware may have thought the same thing. Learning about the worst computer viruses can show you some of the signs of viruses and how they operate. Here are 7 of the nastiest computer viruses in history. 7. Sasser. Sasser, a computer worm that technically existed, was discovered in 2004 and specifically harmed machines running vulnerable versions of Windows XP and Windows 2000. Sasser was a global harm program developed by Sven Jaskin, a German computer science student. The worm forced Delta Airlines to cancel numerous international flights, disconnected the University of Missouri from the internet, and forced the British Coast Guard to turn off its electronic mapping system. 6. WannaCry. One of the earliest instances of ransomware was the WannaCry computer virus. Your computer data were hijacked, and they were held hostage until the victim paid the demanded ransom. This 2017 ransomware virus infected 150 different nations. Over 200,000 machines were affected, and it cost over $4 billion. It might be turned off by a security researcher, 22 years old. He reportedly could have prevented the spread at the time, saving businesses billions of dollars. Despite being confined, the WannaCry virus is still active today. It's interesting to note that the WannaCry virus's developer only requested a $300 ransom, indicating that the virus's primary goal was disruption rather than financial gain. 5. iloveyou. While this virus may have a cute name, it was far from harmless. The iloveyou virus worked like the mydoom virus, sending copies of itself to every email contact in the infected machine. In 2000, this was one of the most dangerous computer viruses the world had seen. It sent a text file that appeared harmless, and quickly spread to more than 10 million PCs. A college student in the Philippines created the virus to steal passwords to use online services he couldn't afford for free. All totaled, the damage amounted to about $15 billion. It was also called the love letter virus. 4. Klez. The Klez virus cost almost $20 billion in damages. Created in 2001, it infected around 7 million computers. It worked by creating fake emails pretending to be from legitimate senders. The recipient would open the email and click an attachment only to be infected by the virus. Klez infected computer files, spread throughout the victim's network, and emailed itself to people in the victim's address book. Klez was re-released over several years, and each version was more deadly than the previous one. 3. Conficker. Conficker infected a computer and added it to a botnet, which is a collection of infected computers that are under the remote control of a hacker. Security professionals were on edge as they awaited Conficker to launch a destructive attack using its vast botnet, but it never did. Instead, scareware, or false alerts intended to scare victims into downloading malware dressed as an antivirus program, was transmitted using Conficker. 2. Sobig. An online worm is the Sobig virus. This means that it searches for security software flaws. The worm spread through users' emails before they realized they were afflicted by a virus. In 2003, the Sobig computer virus cost the world almost $30 billion. It had an impact on many nations, including the US, Canada, and the UK. The virus was given the name Sobig because it produced several Sobig versions of itself. A to Sobig.f, sequentially. The worst was considered to be Sobig.f. 1. mydoom. Many people believe that the computer malware mydoom is the worst to have ever existed. It caused damage of about $38 billion in 2004. Given inflation, that would be equal to nearly $52 billion in today's figures. By harvesting email addresses from infected computers, it operated. The malware was then replicated and delivered to those addresses. Around 1% of all phishing emails contain the mydoom malware, which is still active today. More than 1 billion copies of the virus are sent yearly by devices lacking reliable antivirus defense. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.